All right, so we're gonna jump into proper squat form. So in order to do a proper squat, you're gonna need to know how to hip hinge. So if you don't feel comfortable yet with that hip hinge, I want you to go back, find that video, groove that pattern a little bit before we get into the squat. Use it as a warm-up. For the squat, we don't realize how much we need to squat throughout the day. We squat when we get up and down off the toilet. We squat when we get in and out of a chair, when we're bending over to pick up something. So if we can master this movement, we're gonna save ourselves a lot of low back pain, some knee aches and pains, and really protect our body and move in a more efficient manner. So we're gonna need a chair for this movement while we're learning it, just as a nice support and a nice cue for us that we're gonna go down and touch it with our butt, come right back up, but it's also a nice support to make sure you don't feel like you're going to fall. So we're gonna go ahead, face this way. Legs are about shoulder width apart. Everyone squats at a different distance, but mine are comfortable about a little bit farther than the shoulder width apart. From here, I like to keep my hands in front of me, pretending like I'm holding a weight, just so I'm not moving them throughout the movement. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into that hip hinge, protect that spine nice and long, come back up. So that's gonna be the first movement here, that hip hinge we talked in the last video. We're gonna hip hinge. Once we get to the end of our hip hinge without compromising that spine, and we're keeping that spine nice and long, I want you to think about sitting back into your butt as if you're going to touch it onto the chair. And then we're gonna come back up. Couple things here. As I go down, I'm driving my knees outward. I'm not letting them collapse down and in as I go through that range of motion. So I have my hands here, I hip hinge, I plant through the feet, through that tripod we've talked about in the past, and I sit my bum back, bend the knees, touch, come back up, bring the hips through. So we're gonna go through that a couple times without me talking. A couple things I focus on in this movement, like I said before, I'm driving the knees outward. When I squat down, I'm not letting them cave in, I'm driving them outward so I can create a stable base. I'm thinking about the tripod of the foot that we've talked about in other videos. I want to ground through those 3 points in the foot. I don't want to be lifting or twisting, dipping in the feet. So without a chair, it's going to look like this. Hip hinge. Drive up, hips through. Hip hinge. Drive up, hips through. Go ahead and give it a shot. You shouldn't feel a whole lot of pressure in the front of the knees if you're doing it properly, because the hips and butt should be translating backwards and down, and the knees shouldn't be going too far forward in front of our toes here. Like I said, if you're not comfortable with this movement, grab a chair, practice getting in and out of it with this form in order to feel a little bit more stable through the movement.